Just a friendly reminder, if you could please mute yourself so that during the presentation we don't have any distractions, and there will be an opportunity to kind of share out about the information that you're learning during this. And kind of reflect on everything and how you want to use it in your service. So I'm excited. So welcome everybody to the first session in our self-care series. Let me go ahead and get my screen share on for you. And we started. I do want to say that my connection might cut out here and there, so I apologize in advance for that. I cannot do anything. I literally moved myself upstairs where the Wi-Fi should be the best. If my words go out though, hopefully the illustrations on the slides will, do enough for you, and then you can always ask questions at the end. So if anything cuts out and you wanted to know what I said, just let me know. So we'll get started. All right, so today's topic is Bullet Journaling 101. I'm really excited. This is something that I'm passionate about. I've been using this for about 3 years. I thought it would be cool to give you a little bit about the background of bullet journaling, how it was founded, what the typical uses are, and how it's kind of turned into a really cool art form that people can use for whatever it is that they need. I love it. It's very customizable. So my name is Brittany Hall. I am an Advise Michigan college advisor. If you don't know what our Corps does, we work with typically underserved youth, and we do a lot of college advising pieces, so financial aid, the college application process. We also look at some career prep stuff. It's a lot of fun. And I'm also a Leader Corps member. And I'm in my second year of service, and I'm actually signed on to do a third year next year, which is exciting. So first we'll go over the history and purpose of bullet journaling. I think it's important to go over why it exists and who created it. And if you've never seen what a dot journal page looks like, the picture to the right is actually what that is. And it's also referred to as dot journaling, but bullet journaling is the official title. So the creator of this whole method is Ryder Carroll. He's featured right there, bottom left of the screen. And this kind of started coming about in 2013. Bullet journaling is rapid logging, and that is using a series of symbols, so dashes, asterisks, circles, exclamation points, check marks, things like that, that you come up with that help you more rapidly, basically like flag things. You can write a sentence and maybe you put an exclamation mark at the end, and that means that you need to revisit that thought later. You could put a circle, or you can do squares with completion marks, like maybe you're working on it and half of the square is filled in. So it just makes things a little bit quicker to understand where you are at in your own thoughts in your process, which I really think is kind of cool. The term bullet journal kind of came about from the idea of using abbreviated bullet points instead of writing out longer thoughts. And then it also comes from the idea of using the dot journal pages alongside the rapid logging technique to really form bullet journaling. This quote to the right, track the past, order the present, create the future, is something that's seen very commonly with bullet journaling. It's all about bringing all those things into one. So under purpose, you see that it really just brings all of your different things, like your day-to-day tasks, your thoughts, your goals, into one space to make it a little bit easier to track. The core components of a bullet journal. So this is really what Ryder came up with, and it has since kind of, I would say, grown out of this very rigid concept, but this, if you're trying to do a true bullet journal, would be what you're following. So you'd have an index, which is your table of contents, basically. The picture right to the right of the text is what the index might look like for you, depending on how you want to set that up. And it would be easier for you to get to certain pages if you created this, but it is not a necessity, especially in the things that we'll be talking about. Rapid logging we've talked about, but basically you want to put a key in to understand and to create an understanding of what you are using for symbols. So to the top right of the page is an example of a key that you might create. And this can be used in all of your events, your different lists that we'll talk about, or you don't have to use this at all. It's very much up to you. Logs are your spreads, so your daily, weekly, monthly planning. Those would be your logs. Collections would be the groupings of different things that you're using. So you might have some logs, you might have some different lists that you're working on, you might have trackers. I will give you examples of those things as we go throughout the presentation. And then the idea of migration is really, really important in bullet journaling and really in life. So it's the idea of taking tasks that you might not have completed and moving them onto an updated list. I think it's important to continuously update your goals, your list, and make sure that everything is not stagnant. This is an idea of taking it, improving, so you're migrating all your thoughts as you do that process. There are lots of uses for bullet journaling. It's not just jotting down thoughts. It can be for a multitude of different things. So these are just some things that I listed that I think kind of correlate more with service. So goals, habit tracking, your day-to-day activities and responsibilities, your weekly calendar, a monthly calendar. You could even do an annual one if you like to have the big picture in front of you. Motivation, positivity, and gratitude as an annual tracker, or you could do it from month to month just to see kind of where you're at. So one thing that's really important is to make this your own. I'm giving you just broad examples of what you can do with this, but I think the best thing that you can do is take it and apply it however you think works best for your style. You can make it more simplistic. You can go more complex with your logging. It's all about what works for you. And obviously not all of us are super artistic. I have limitations within my own bullet journaling. So it's just all about what you want to do. And if you want it to be something quick, do lists. And yeah, you're in control of it. And there's lots of ideas out there on the internet. So sadly, I don't have my bullet journals with me. I wanted to show them off. They're all at my service site and I haven't been there in 75 days. So I don't have any access to them until June. But I do have some pictures of different trackers I've done in the past. And I've also used some from the internet from folks who like to share their ideas. So I'll let you know when it's mine or when it's not, just so you know that. So this right here, habit tracking, I think is really, really useful for me at least. It might not be for you, or it might be. I think this definitely ties into self-care. And I love it because I think that sometimes we have things we want to improve on or work on or just make sure we're doing in our life. And it can be hard to keep that balance when you're doing service and just trying to live your life day to day. So this is really useful for me. So you can see on this habit tracker, this is actually a picture of one of the ones that I've done in the past. I had just created it when I took a picture of it. So nothing's filled out, but you would typically go in and maybe highlight if you've done that thing on that day, or however you want to indicate it, that's completely up to you. So I had vitamins, water, wash your face, workout, bullet journaling. I really wanted to do more of that. Gratitude log, moisturizing, that's very important. Sleep and spend free. So the spend free one is days that I went without spending any money I didn't need to. So those are things that I thought were important in January, and these change from month to month, of course. And I made it cute, but you don't have to draw anything. That's up to you. Motivation is another one that I think might be important for us. Sometimes we wake up and we're not motivated. It's really good to have something to go back to that makes you happy or that motivates you to do whatever it is that you want it to motivate you to do. So you can do quotes, drawings. I love lyrics from songs. I've done pages where I took my favorite lyrics, I wrote them out, added some kind of illustration, and that was really helpful to me to visit that page and ground me that day. And I think it's just a really cool way to use it. You don't have to do this. This is somebody else's page, but I thought this was really cool. They kind of took it, added some things that play into the lyrics and made it their own. And this is what you would call a spread. So it's a 2-page spread. Scheduling, this is important for all of us. You can do it in so many different ways. You can do daily, weekly, you can do your monthlies like the one on the right. Just depends on what you want. I liked this example on the left here because I think that it's cool that they did like the temperature outside that day. I would be interested to know what Michigan's trackers would look like for that. But they also had like their dinners in there, shopping. But you could just make it a weekly tracker, Sunday through Saturday, however you want to set that up, and then put in all of your goals or things that you're doing or times that you have to be at your service site. And it might be really helpful in just keeping organized. Sleep and mood trackers could also be really helpful for us. The picture on the left is a mood tracker that would be done weekly, or not weekly, I'm sorry, monthly. And then on the right, so the picture on the right is actually mine. I love my stick figure. That is just so cute. But I did a sleep log paired with an annual mood log. So you would typically create like a color-coded key and then figure out how you want to break that all down for moods. And then for my sleep log, I just went in every day and highlighted exactly when I slept. And sometimes those two correlate, sometimes they don't. But I think it's really cool to track those things. And it helped me kind of see patterns. When I wasn't sleeping as much, my mood, when I was tracking it in the morning, wasn't great. I think that kind of makes sense. But this was really helpful for me. And I wish that I had a picture of the finished one because it was just this whole like rainbow. It was beautiful. But unfortunately don't have access to it right now. Gratitude tracking is another one we talked about. This is just a little breath of positivity into your day every day if you want to do it daily. So that example on the right is the daily option. And then example on the left could be daily. You could label it based on the days of the month. Or you could make it more of a whenever I fill out all of these, I go on to the next one type thing. That's what I did. I did that exact spread, but turned it into just whenever I could fill it out. It turns out it only took me about a month and a half to come up, and I think I had 50 slots. And that was just awesome to practice that gratitude. I tried to do it daily, and then I had the habit tracker that kept me kind of motivated and accountable to do those things. List making is a really simple way of just using bullet journaling, and honestly is part of the original intent of it anyways. So I put some ideas for self-care on here. I found these on the internet. Once again, you can search any idea that you have to apply bullet journaling to, and you will find about 4,000 spreads that are available to you. And I love just looking at them and kind of taking it and then altering it to make it match my style of bullet journaling. And that's exactly what you can do. But I think these are great. They're just lists, and you can make it cute. You can add some color. You can do whatever your style is. So on the left, you have just like a list. And then on the right, you have some illustrations added in. So if that's your style, perfect. And they kind of broke that down based on different categories. One thing that I would say is it's important to reevaluate your needs every single month, or maybe it's bi-monthly, but they will change. Maybe you do all the things on this list and then you realize, you know what, maybe there's some more goals that I have for my self-care, and then you update it. But then you would do that whole idea of migration, and say you didn't do important. I think it would be cool to apply this to our service if you have different goals for your service year that you've been working on with your program director, for example, or just with your site supervisor, whoever it is, or maybe with yourself. And you could break that down very easily in your bullet journal to kind of match what you're looking for. I like both of these examples because it once again shows the two extremes. On the left, that's a lot more illustrated. They did broad goals and then illustrated it. On the right, you have goals for the month, and they broke it down by category, but everything's a little more specific. So whatever it is that you need to lay those things out and be able to stay on track, you can cater your bullet journal to that. Budget tracking is definitely huge when you're thinking of us as folks who are doing service. So there are some cool things on here. I love that Save Opoly but that's all based on your personal needs and wants. And then they have a bill tracker. There's lots of different layouts. And I think I didn't mention this, but if you're not super creative, you can also print these things. A lot of times, if you search printable bullet journal page, you can just print it. You don't have to draw it. So you can even use it in that respect where somebody else has created the content, you print it out and apply it to what you're doing, and it makes things so much easier. Fitness tracking is huge. You can do it however you want. I like that in the left example, they're doing it based on the type of workout that they're doing. So clearly they're creating their own fitness plan. Somebody like me who already has a regimented workout and plan that I follow on like a program on demand, putting some motivational pieces in there really helps too. Whatever it is that gets you going, put it in there and make sure that you're sticking to it. For fun, the picture on the left actually is part of my bullet journal that I have in my planner. So one thing I didn't mention is I use an agenda every single day. So all of my day-to-day stuff and monthly stuff is in there, but then I use bullet journaling for all the fun and the trackers and different things like that. So you can do combinations. If you're somebody who uses a planner, there's still a use for bullet journaling for you. So for the fun portion of it, I did Disney and I wrote down every single video or movie from Disney from beginning of time all the way up to current day. Although I made this about a year ago, didn't use it. And then I just started using it with my Disney Plus account, conveniently, because I have a little more time on my hands and it's just been a lot of fun. And I have watched more than I have checked off. But what I wanted to do was restart my journey of watching Disney movies because I feel like it's something that I did as a kid and I didn't really soak in everything in those movies. So this was something that was useful to me. You can also do books. I use this example on the right. They have lots of different templates and spreads for this that are super cute. This one's one of the more simplistic ones, and then there's some where you draw out a whole bookshelf and you write the titles on the books, and it's just super fun, and I think it's therapeutic sometimes if you're an artsy person to design those, and then it's kind of fulfilling when you get to color them in because you did that. So I think that's a lot of fun. But you can do anything for this. Maybe your fun is tracking where you are on the continuum of service. I don't know. But I really love that you can kind of make it your own. Materials that you need to start this whole journey. So it's actually fairly cheap, I would say. You can find a lot of the stuff that you need at the dollar store. So let me just start with that. Dollar Tree is great. You can get the fine tip markers. You can get they will have blank journals. If you want the dot journals, you'll have to look at different stores for that. These items that I featured in the pictures are actually from Amazon, and it costs definitely under $25 to grab all 3 of these things. You probably already have a pen that you highlighters tend to work a little bit easier. They don't bleed through the pages and they glide and they're beautiful. And I never knew what they were until I started this journey. And then the fine tip markers, like I said, you can get them from the dollar store, or the ones that I order on Amazon are about $7.99 for like 12 to 24 of them. I don't remember the quantity. I am more than willing to send you an email with all the materials that I love to use, and all the links to different places you can get them if you want, and I will provide my email address in just a second. You can reach out and I'd be happy to give that to you. So the idea now was to do breakout groups, but we might have to get a little creative. One second. Trying to think of how we can do this now. So I didn't see that my audio was cutting out, but I figured it would happen. So before we do any breakout stuff, does anybody have questions on things that cut out during the presentation?
Brittany, no questions so far in the chat box, but I'm going to go ahead and post the evaluation link too. So the session is not over, not to be confused, but we want to make sure that we get your feedback for today. So just if you can copy and paste the link, and then when the session is over, if you all could take just a couple minutes to complete it, we'd really appreciate it.
So one thing I kind of want to get feedback on is how you think you could use this for your service or maybe in your personal life. If anybody wants to share, maybe you could put it into the chat box right now. So we have from Paula, I use my bullet journal to track my monthly habits. Awesome. Glad that somebody is already using it. Make it as simplistic as you would like to, or as artsy, or whatever it is that works for you. Definitely play around with it and see what feels less tedious about it. You're welcome, Carrie. Thanks for coming. Marilyn wants to start using it for weekly goals. That's awesome. Patty said, I would like to use it for daily and monthly tasking goals. That's awesome. Gabrielle, I like to track all the books and movies I've read and watched in a year. That one's really fun. I'm enjoying the Disney one right now. Julie said, it looks like this could help keep me motivated to complete projects. Being retired, I tend to put things off. Absolutely. I think writing it down, they always say writing anything down helps you like manifest that. So I think it definitely will. Could track activity and moods for Lynn. Kamira said I'd start using this for task goals and keeping up with my blogs. That's awesome. Rainy, I think bullet journaling could help me break up large projects into smaller tasks. Absolutely. Ashley said, for those of us going to grad school, it's helpful for me to track everything I needed to complete for each school, as well as track interviews and admissions decisions. Yep. So you can track anything, track it for school. Jacqueline said, budget, fitness, goals, perfect. Oh, Cheryl said to track it for hours that she spends on each thing to balance time. I think that's a really good use. Joyce, I think you would love it. Definitely. Elnora said this is a twist. It has a twist. Yeah, there's a lot of positivity that's in bullet journaling. I really find even if you start with like a gratitude log, just think of the things every day that you're grateful for. It's a really good intro to really being able to be alone with your thoughts and reflect. And that's really part of what bullet journaling is. Ethelyn, I would have a daily list and use a highlighter for important things to do immediately. Yes, prioritizing is really hard. And then Agnes said project completion, exercise, connect eating to activity and energy levels. Yep. Mitch, a dream journal would be interesting. A lot of crazy thoughts lately. Oh my gosh. I don't know if anybody else during quarantine has had the craziest dreams, but I'm there right now. I probably should have tracked them because I agree. That's really cool. Like it seems like everybody kind of has an idea of how this could work for them. And that is exactly what I was hoping to get out of this whole presentation. Everybody is working so hard. And the first thing I should have said is thank you so much for the service that you do, because we're getting things done. It's really important to be here, be present in our communities, make changes. Lacey said, I really like the gratitude portion, as well as tasks for the year. I would use it to come up with summer goals. Awesome. You can literally use it for anything in your life that you just want to track, or you want to make a reality, or maybe that you just want to reflect on. It could just be about reflection. It doesn't have to be about goals, but I think it's cool when you add that in. Yeah. Trying to think of anything else that would be relevant. Yeah, so let me write my email address in this chat box for you all. And if you're not looking at the chat box, it's blhall, so BLHALLOU @gmail.com. I would love to connect. That would be great. I can provide you with whatever resources, materials that you need. We can chat about how I use certain things, whatever it is. Oh, I accidentally just sent it to Megan. Well, that's not good. Let's do everybody. I'm super open to connecting. I would absolutely love it. I think it's awesome to meet other folks in AmeriCorps, and I'm really passionate about bullet journaling. So, you know, hopefully this has been helpful, and maybe in the future we could do more sessions like this. I do it with my students. So this is another thing I didn't mention, but it could be applicable to helping folks in the communities you're serving also. So think about what we're thinking it can do for us. My students are going off to, usually they're going off to college, sometimes they're going into the workforce, but we talk about how they can use bullet journaling as an outlet to stay organized, because that's a big concern for a lot of them, is making sure that they stay on track with classes and assignments. And there's a big transition until a friend told me. So I thought, you know, why not start introducing it to more folks? Because it is a really helpful tool in everyday life. So I'm not seeing anything else coming in. Does anybody have any last minute questions that you want to write in the chat and I can answer for you? Or you can just email me if that's more comfortable for you. And then Megan just put the link for the evaluation. We want to hopefully continue to be able to provide sessions like this, so any feedback would be awesome. Thank you, Agnes. I get most of my stuff from Amazon, but I also like to go to Meyer. For some reason, they have a lot of journals, and they have the highlighters. Somebody said that. Michael's as well is a good place, yeah. Oh, and I missed this one from Elliot. Does anybody have experience using a bullet journal with ADHD? I do not personally. Maybe if anybody in the group wants to reach out and have. Visiting it as frequently as I'd like to. But it is a motivator when you have it in there that says bullet journaling, and I have it by month, each month. So that really helps me. Or you can put a reminder, say you use, if you have like an iPhone or any calendar app on your phone, you could set a reminder. That's something that I do too. And some days you're just doing your service and then you go home and you have to do other things and you lose track of time. So if you set a reminder, it'll pop up and you can figure out what time of day is best for you to see that. And it might remind you to just at least spend 10 minutes each day or every other day or once a week on it. That might be helpful. I don't see anything else rolling in. But yeah, feel free to contact me. Once again, I am an open book. I love connecting with new people. I love AmeriCorps, so I'm sure all of us have so much in common. And I would be happy to answer any questions and continue to provide resources for you. If you need motivation to do it, contact me. I'll help you out. Yeah, whatever you need, I'm here. Just let me know. But thank you so much for coming. I really, really appreciate it. Yes, and as Megan said, please do not forget that we have 3 other sessions in our self-care series. I'll pop into those so you'll see my face around. We're really excited. And thank you so much. I really appreciate you all.
Thanks, Brittany. And we'll share the link for this too. So if there are members from your team that maybe weren't able to participate or you wanted to share this information with them, we'll share this out with programs as well. Thanks, everyone.